everyone? Welcome back to 996. Now the first home game of the season, first game at Mullett Arena for the Coyotes, and a bit of a lukewarm start to the game. But before I jump into the game, just want to give props to the broadcast. Lighting, very, very crisp. No more blue tint. That might have gone away late last season, but looks way more clear. Less shadows. I think the shadows are less prominent too. The CEO of the Coyotes, Javier, said they installed new lighting, so some minor upgrades. Thought the broadcast looked clean, much better than last year's broadcast, and now it looks like a legit NHL arena ice. Before last season, the shadows a bit too much, some weird things going on with the blue tint, but glad that the picture was crisp. Like I said, lukewarm start to the game. Neither team could get clean looks. Both teams were trying to generate something. Dostal was in net for the Anaheim Ducks. Coyotes couldn't get clean looks at Dostal. Coyotes get the first power play of the game. It took them 40 seconds to gain zone entry, but after that, pretty much spent the whole time in the zone. What's going to be interesting this season is power play one. It's called power play one because usually you start the power play unless you were on the ice when you drew the penalty. But for the Coyotes, the PP1, they're so good at keeping the puck in the offensive zone the whole power play that PP2 sometimes doesn't even get a chance to get on the ice, or if they do, it's like 20 seconds left. And our power play number 2 is very good, and we'll talk about them right now. They fail in that first power play, but the second power play unit number 2, gets it going. Zucker with his second of the season, assisted by Valimaki and Michelli, the same two people who assisted on his goal in St. Louis. I would say about Zucker's shot, it's not so accurate. It just feels like a very, very heavy shot because the St. Louis goal, the goalie Hofer got his glove on it, but it was too heavy that bent his glove over and went in the net. And then this time, Dostal, it sort of creaks through his armpit a bit and gets in the net. It's good that Zucker has a really good one-timer. It just adds a different look to power play. You wouldn't expect Zucker to have a great one-timer, at least for me. I've never really watched Zucker, but you gotta pay attention to Michelli, who's a magician on the power play. You got big bodies in front like Bukestad or Crow. So power play number 2, very formidable. They get on the board, make it 1-0. Coyotes go on a penalty kill at a pretty weird moment, not weird moment, just a flustering moment. Everyone was baffled by this call where Gudas and Carcone collide. It was reviewed for Gudas to get a 5-minute penalty. The refs called it back and just called 2 minutes for slashing on Carcone prior to the play. For me, if I was a ref, I'm not a ref, I would call Gudas for 2 minutes for interference. I thought the hit was clean. It was a very hard hit. It looked bad. It was a clean hit, shoulder to upper shoulder on Carcone. He got sandwiched. I just feel like Gudas had no intention of playing that puck and didn't even want to play the puck. He was lining up for that hit the moment he saw Carcone coming into his line of sight, and Carcone never touched the puck. I would give 2 minutes for interference. They just don't call a penalty at all and call the Carcone slash prior to that play. Coyotes kill it off. It bleeds into the start of the second period. It was a desperate penalty kill, a lot of blocked shots, desperation saves by Vejmelka, who put up another elite performance. And then Zucker, it started to get a bit chippy after that Gudas fiasco. Carcone never returned to the game. Both teams were playing chippy. It was getting a bit spicy and feisty. Zucker had a huge hit on someone by the boards, and I think Zucker injured himself on that play, or shortly after. Zucker, like Carcone, didn't return to the game, so Zucker only played about half this game. Coyotes won another power play. They fail at it. Then there was a fight, if you could call it a fight, between O'Brien and Ross Johnston. It was a bit of a hugging match, and to be honest, I would give the edge to the Anaheim Ducks. In that fight, he threw maybe 2 clean punches. I would have loved to see Josh Brown dressed for this game. Coming into this game, I forgot. I always forget, Anaheim and the Coyotes, they really do hate each other. Since that Beagle and Zegras incident 2 seasons ago now, it seems since then whenever they collide or face each other, it's a bit too chippy, but I guess moving forward, Andre Tourney should realize that. Dress a guy like Josh Brown. rough some players up, or have, a guy like McBain drop the gloves. McBain had a great heavy game today as well. Anaheim started the period with momentum due to the power play, but Arizona was wrestling it back, and then Anaheim got it back for a little bit, and then they committed a penalty. There was like Coyotes drew a penalty, and on that delayed call, the first line does its magic, and a sniper from Clayton Keller. I mean, a legitimate snipe shot in the literal sense. He took his time, looked for exactly where he wanted to shoot, and shot it, and a perfect, accurate shot, bar down, the top corner, shoulder of Dostal, the goalie. A clean shot, and a great, confident shot by Clayton Keller, assisted by Durzi and Schmaltz. Schmaltz and Keller are just running the table these first 5 games. They were quiet against the Rangers and Islanders, but now I think they have 6 points in 5 games. They're just, taking it where they left off last season. After that goes 2-0. They go on a penalty kill, they kill it. They go on another power play, they fail at it, and that power play bled into the third period. Anaheim was very undisciplined. I felt like they were getting a lot of penalties, and I felt this penalty that transitioned from the second to third, the Coyotes kind of left the Ducks off the hook, because it was 2-0. The worst lead in hockey is to lead by 2 goals. You go into the third period on a power play. You got to make them pay for that. Make it 3-0, and then the Ducks are out of the game completely. Instead, they fail at that power play. They did get a good look. Keller passed it on a 2-on-1 to Hayden. That was stopped, but then the Coyotes go on a penalty kill. Krause gets a penalty, and the Ducks score on the power play to make it 2-1. That's what I'm talking about. It was such a close game from when the Ducks scored it to make it 2-1 to the end of the game, and it didn't have to be that way. I know you can't score on every single power play, but important power plays like that to start a period, that is such a huge morale booster and gives you such an edge to start a period, to just get an extra goal like that. Like, the team's already trailing in the second intermission. They come out for a penalty kill, and then they get scored on. That's the win out of their sails, and the Coyotes let them back into the game. Even though it was a 2-1 finished game, it wasn't a defensive game like the New York Rangers game. Both teams were showing off a lot of skill and creativity, a lot of good quality chances by both teams. Just both goalies played really well. Got to give credit to Dostal. Dostal, Schmid, we saw in New Jersey. A couple young, unknown goalies who are putting up really good performances against the Coyotes. There was one more insane play by the Coyotes. Keller to Schmaltz, goes backhand, but Dostal denies him. And then the Coyotes hold off for a 2-1 win. The Coyotes could play a very skillful, creative game, but they could also play a very heavy game. They got a lot of heavy hitters. I mentioned McBain had a heavy game. Him and Dumba had 2 huge hits on the same shift near the end of the third period. Zucker could get a bit feisty. He had a huge hit. And there's others like Brown, O'Brien. So the Coyotes, however you want to play them, they can play that heavy, hard-hitting game. They can play that skill game. I'm still looking for them to improve that grinding type style. I think the Bukestad-Krause line needs to play that, grinding type style, get pucks behind the net, cycle it around, because Michelli's no longer on that line anymore. Michelli's up with Cooley and Zucker, if Zucker's not injured for the next game. And Carconi's injured. So it's been Krause, Bukestad, Carconi. We'll see if Carconi gets replaced due to his injury, but that line needs to grind it out a bit more. They're not going to be as creative and playmaking as the other line, so they got to get that sort of style of hockey back under their belt. Faceoffs, Coyotes went 57%, 1 for 5 power play, 2 for 3 penalty kill. They got outshot 33-28, but it was pretty close. For some reason, Anaheim had 17 shots in the second period, which didn't feel like that at all. And Coyotes scored in that second, and the Ducks didn't. I didn't feel like the shot totals for that second period looked as if the Ducks were overpowering the Coyotes. But the Coyotes get a big 2 points, 3-2-0. It was great in that last minute, praying and hoping the Coyotes hold off for a win. It's been really, really long since it's a minute left. The Coyotes are up 1, and I'm praying for the other team to not score. In those tank years, you're praying for the Coyotes to not win. You're praying for the opposition to bring it to overtime and let the Coyotes lose and only get 1 point and not the 2 points. So it's great to have that feeling of, hey, we could win now, and the amount of wins doesn't matter. Get as many points as you can, cheering the team to close it out. And I want to give props to Vejmelka for a great game. We have literally elite goaltending. I mean, these two goalies of Ingram and Vejmelka have put up elite games through the first 5 games, and it's not hyperbole. Like, look at their numbers. They have about a 940 team save percentage, which is so above league average to start the season. It's awesome that both goaltenders are pushing each other and having better games than the other goalie. Sure, the dam's going to break at one point. One of these goalies is going to have a bad game. We'll see how the management handles that. And they've been rotating 1 game each. We'll see if Vejmelka gets the next start, whenever that is, I guess, during the week. But a great game by the Coyotes. Great to get that first home win. A lot of fans in the stands were there to see a win and a great game. And they got it. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.